Okay, we are back with part two, returning to work postpartum. And in this episode, we're going to talk about adjusting to the workplace. So you already are there. You are dealing with any kind of postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety. I will say that I have absolutely dealt with a lot of postpartum anxiety and it has been difficult. And so adjusting to the workplace has been tricky. And you're not alone if you're in that place right now. So I have a couple of recommendations for you. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Okay, so when you're in the workplace, you've filled up your backpack with all the things that you need to fill it up with as far as getting started. You identified that support system. You had a plan for transitioning back into the workplace. You're keeping communication open with your leaders or your team. And you're also figuring out what your mental health plan is. Great, you did all that stuff. But now you're actually in the workplace. So what's actually happening? A lot of times you're coming back into the workplace and you have to get acclimated to the routine, which is, whatever that schedule's going to be, whether it's 5 days a week, whether it's a 9 to 5 traditional, maybe you're doing part-time, whatever that routine is, you have to get adjusted to that routine. It's going to be a bit of a chapter and an adjustment. So really important at that point to give yourself grace. Be patient with yourself. It it can be a bit hard to go from focusing on baby for so long to then focusing on meetings and peers and colleagues and listening to others in that way. Take moments for yourself and take the time to take a breath. It's okay if you're not adjusting right away. You may need to give yourself a moment to just sit in it, recognize what's going on. I know that when I was getting back into the workplace, my mind was, I could not keep up with everything that was happening. It felt like everything around me was moving so fast and I was just sitting there and I was lagging. Part of it, I think, is I felt like there's a little bit of a delay in processing information. That mind fog is very real returning back to work postpartum. So just give yourself a moment to uh, adjust physically in the workplace, adjust your mind. It's okay to allow yourself time and space to adjust mentally while you're trying to obtain information. Your brain has to now adjust to all the new information that's coming your way because it's been so focused on baby. The next piece I'm going to talk about is confidence and adjusting to the workplace. So this is also another very real elements. Adjusting to the workplace, confidence can absolutely uh, be an up and down scenario when you're entering back into the work world. Your identity has now changed. You have changed. Becoming a mom is such a huge life change. It's not only altering your brain, it's altering who you are, really figuring out and noticing what is happening to yourself or what are you experiencing when you're entering the world. Are you do you feel self-doubt? What's causing that? So as you're noticing these moments of confidence or potentially imposter syndrome, what's causing that? So taking a moment to notice that, write it down. Why is this happening? Really taking moments to reflect and work through those or understand what's happening will allow you to open up your mind to moments in your therapy sessions or in times when you have some journaling activity where you really need to work through some of these things because if you're not able to work through them, they're going to continue to fester and it will come out in some way, somehow for you at some point. So, really important to make sure you're addressing that. You're not letting it go unbothered and unnoticed, that you're taking time to work through it. And that's what leads me to my last area, which is work life balance. Um, I was I heard something recently, and I think actually it was an article I was reading about work life balance. Is that really a thing? Is that still possible? I think different people have different opinions about this. I will say it is and can be possible. Part of that is your ability to be present, and it's so hard. Are you at work thinking about your baby? Are you with your baby thinking about work? How are you really separating those things? Part of work life balance and being effective in it is really being mindful about your presence when you're at work. are you fully present and there at work? So that way, when you go home and you're taking care of your child, you can leave work at work. And then when you're with your baby, what are you doing to be as mindful with your baby as possible? Being there with your child, living in those moments, finding joy in those moments where your baby is growing and meeting some developmental milestones. But also part of this is easier said than done because while it's important to be present in these two separate areas, it is very challenging to find that work-life balance when you are dealing with anxiety and depression postpartum. These things are really difficult. If you're noticing that you're having a lot of challenges with being present, why is that? What's happening for you in those moments? What's stopping you from being able to be present? And is that something you need to address? Anyway, these are a few areas that I think are really important to think about as you're adjusting into the workplace and be mindful of. So, first of all, is giving yourself some grace, noticing the confidence waves. What does that look like? And how are you able to find work life balance? Are you able to find work life balance? These are some things to just notice and recognize when it comes to adjusting in the workplace. So, I'm hoping that these are bringing some points of attention to you so that you can be more aware, you can be more mindful, and I look forward to sharing some more things in the future. But again, let me know if there are in the comments, if there are any adjustments that you've had to make adjusting postpartum. You're not alone in this. There are many women who are dealing with the same thing you are when it comes to adjusting to, including myself, when it comes to adjusting to the workplace postpartum. Thank you for taking time to tune in with me today. I will catch you in the next one, and I look forward to connecting again soon.